hello, and welcome to the first episode of Let's Begin Again podcast. I am your host, Patricia Peña, and I am a Panamanian living in the US. I lived in Panama until I was 18 years old and then moved to Pennsylvania for college. I went to Penn State in Pennsylvania, and in Panama I went to St. Mary's School. So if you guys are listening to this, you guys know me since way before I started even getting involved in this content creation on Instagram and now here on podcasts. So thank you so much for going along the ride with me and your love and support. Now, that being said, yes, I went to college in PA, but I did not stay there. I've been traveling for a while for work, so I've been in Minneapolis, South Dakota, Texas, Oklahoma, and many more places. So I've been a little bit all over the Midwest. It really has blew my mind, these places, and also my strength to adapt into these new places and being far from home, from loved ones, and all of that. So it's been a journey getting adapted to this lifestyle. In the past 2 years, I grew a love and passion on everything mindfulness together with content creation and to share more of it. And this started back in 2020, mid pandemic. I had, like a lot of us, struggle a little bit with my mental health. And as I got better using some of the tools that I will share with you on social media, like I do on Instagram, I will start transitioning more into podcasts so I can share a little bit of my story. And, the more the better, the more ways I can share more of my experience and the tools that help me, the better it can be for everyone out there. In this podcast, we will be talking about anything and everything that is brought up to the table, while always keeping mindfulness present in the conversation. Now, that being said, I will be picking a different topic every week and will be sharing personal experiences, stories, emotions, and valuable information along with some knowledge on the topic of the week. Most of my content is mindfulness and tools to improve like personal growth. But in this podcast, I also want to give away a little bit of my personality, and I am very up to anything. Hit me with anything that you got. And I would love to hear what you guys want to hear from this podcast. That makes the conversation 10 times more interesting. But a very important part of this podcast is you. And I want to make sure everyone on here feels as part of the conversation. Therefore, I have decided to have a Q&A box on my Instagram account every week where you are able to add topics you would like to hear here or to see here. I guess it will be here because you're not seeing me, so that you will hear here. And this can be, like I said earlier, anything and everything. So don't be shy and go follow me at Patricia Pilar Peña on Instagram. And to spell that for you guys is at PatriciaPilar.PENA to get the conversation started. And I will be putting that down below in the description because I know it's a very long name for an Instagram. I cannot even begin. I cannot even think back. When was the first time Oh, wait, I do. So, I've been thinking of creating a podcast since 2020. And maybe not specifically this podcast, but one I remember clearly. My two best friends from back home, Anna and Shalini. And I mean, I am a civil engineer slash environmental. Anna is studying to become a doctor, and Shalini is like a political science major. So all three of us see the world in a different point of view just because of what we study. So obviously I'm here like, oh, save the planet, like everyone should recycle, everyone should buy electric vehicles. And then here is Shalini calming me down and be like, we cannot do that, you know? Like there's people out there that cannot afford being, you know, environmentalist, And I'm like, oh, wait, actually? So it's a very healthy friendship where we all balance each other's point of view and we're all very open minded, where like we are receptive of the information each other is trying to provide. So I remember I was creating my environmental IGTV on my Instagram. And I was getting some help from Shalini because I thought that her point of view was amazing. So it was just the three of us discussing about this very interesting topic. And I was like, we should do a podcast. Like, it will be so good just to like bring a topic in and having each other like have their point of view based on like what they study. So that was a whole tangent I went on, but that was the first time back in 2020 when I thought like I want to do a podcast. Like I already talked to my friends and my family for hours at times on the phone. I think I can do it on a mic. So but for 2 years later, 2022, and I think it was the beginning of this year, I told my boyfriend like I think I really want to do this. I just have no clue. Like everything new in life, I had no clue how to even start. Like the only thing I knew is that I needed a microphone, a better quality microphone than just my iPhone microphone. And that was it. So then I started doing research and going into this whole research on how can I make this possible, and then I had all the answers within like a week of research. And I had my microphone already here, so I was just like it took honestly the longest step to get to this point was making myself sit my butt down and speak into the microphone without postponing it any longer. Here we go. This first episode, I'm bringing a topic that is very, I mean, all of these topics are going to be close to my heart. Just because, like I said earlier, it's either part of who I am or like it helped me through a very hard time or it really click in my brain. A lot of these things click in my brain. Like I read it and I'm like, mind blown. Like my whole world. It's like whenever you hack something and you find an easier way to do it and everything just makes sense. That's exactly how I feel about these topics. So, the first topic is integrity. So, integrity is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, sorry, and moral uprightness. And this is like straight up from dictionary. And I want to say that there's multiple definitions on integrity, but the one that resonated or stayed with me the strongest was the concept of consistency of actions, values, methods, measures, principle, expectations, and outcomes. I just want to put it out there. To me, it just means make sure that your action matches with your thoughts and vice versa, that your thoughts are matching with your actions. If there is a disconnection between the two of them, then like you're not living with integrity on yourself, a life of integrity. And that's how I like to explain it because it's so easy. It's easy to understand, and then it's also easier to measure your integrity. Like if I really want to be that person who wakes up early and works out, and I'm not being that person, then I'm not living a life of integrity. And that's just one example. But that's the way that I like to explain it, because if you go into this whole dictionary definitions, it's very hard to comprehend what it actually means, because it just becomes into this like, what is value, what is moral, what is like, and I don't even know what those things mean. So therefore I don't feel like I'm capable of explaining to you guys what they mean. But I do know that integrity is not just being honest. Living a life of integrity is not balancing and compartmentalizing your life. And it is not natural, effortless, and just part of who you are. This is what we see out there on social media, and if you see someone, you're like, oh, they look like, they live a life of integrity based on like what they post and how their life. And like, I am guilty of that. Like, if I see someone that just is peace and love everywhere and just like lives day by day, I'm like, oh my gosh, they live a life of integrity. But truly, I don't know. Just because they look that it's coming out naturally, effortless, and it's just part of who they are, like, that doesn't mean that they're living a life of integrity. Integrity, it started with the Latin word integer, which back then it only meant, also I don't know Latin, so if I'm reading this wrong, I'm so sorry. But integer, and it meant whole, like just a whole, like as a whole, like WHOLE. And then it went from that to integritatem. Integritatem, yeah. And then it expanded the definition as well to soundness, wholeness, completeness, purity, correctness, and blamelessness. So everything being like, you're pure, you're right, you're always right. There's no way you're the one to blame. And then it transferred to old French called intégrité. And then in the 1400s, it was created the word integrity. And back then, the definition is not what it is now. So back then, the definition was innocence, blamelessness, chastify, and purity. So super innocent person. Again, like super right, super whole. Like, there's no way you're the one to blame. And then it transformed to the definition that we know now that I previously explained. So it's a long way. It's a one of those words that come a long way, but the definition has changed immensely to capture the whole what really being integral and living a life in integrity really means. I first heard of the word integrity like probably elementary school. Like, I remember we had to take this philosophy class back in elementary school. Actually, no, I think it must have been middle school. There's no way they were teaching elementary people, like, or kids, what integrity was. But I'm pretty sure it was in either middle school or high school. We had to take philosophy. And it was such a funny class back then because obviously I didn't have the intellectual that I have now or the personal growth that I have now. So back then, like, the professor would say, like, to be a philosopher, you only have to think. And I'm like, so am I a philosopher? It was just a very interesting concept to explain to a 14 and 15-year-old Patricia. So to be honest, like, the word integrity really stick to me years after, and I'm talking like probably 2020 or 2021, one of those two. And I remember because I follow these two well, I don't know if they're co-influencers. They're women, empowered women that have their own business, both of them. And they're both friends, but one of them, her name is Danny Schulz, and she recommended her friend Isa Garcia's platform, which is Instagram, podcasts, and all of these others. And in that moment, Isa was throwing like a weekend long training, like a 3-day training for free. If I'm not wrong, it was for free. I don't think back then I was into investing in myself, so it must have been for free. But I took I mean, I invested because it was my time, right? But it was also COVID, so there was not much going on anyway. So I took this 3-day long training with Isa, and the way she expressed about integrity blew my mind up. She presented it more as like a tool that you can use to have a personal growth throughout your life. And not only just a regular personal growth, but like excel your personal growth. And to me, that was the first time that I saw integrity, and I was like, I didn't know integrity can take me this. Like, I don't know, I didn't know that integrity was way more than just being honest, one, and that it was a tool that I could use for my benefit, So that's how it really caught my attention into like, I want to know more about this and I want to know ways that I can use this. And that's what she did in that training, partially. And I mean, she didn't go into the nitty gritty because there was a lot of other things she also touched, but it was like just enough to get me going into like, I love this. And yeah, that's exactly like that's one of the reasons I'm sharing this with you guys, because I want you guys to have this information and decide whether I want to use that tool and see where it takes me and all this stuff. And by the way, I don't know if I ever explained to you what Isa Garcia does, but she has her own business, and part of her business is, you know, trainings, and she has a academy as well where she also like give out classes. But most of her classes are given for people who want to build a business. And then you take this class and then you create like a kind of like a business idea, business plan on what you want it to be. So you can go in as a woman or man that you know you want to create your own business, but you don't know what it is, how, or all of this stuff. So the way she bases it is that you learn more about yourself first. Based on that, you're able to identify what your business could be and how to develop it based on yourself. And I think that's amazing. I just wanted to highlight that. But she's awesome, and that's how I learned about integrity. Okay, now all that being said, I do want to give you a hint. Not a hint, but I wanted to give this word a highlight. And is that whenever I read the definition of integrity, I said the concept of consistency of actions, values, blah, blah, blah. But I wanted to highlight consistency because that's a key word into the definition of integrity. Because you can be integrity in one moment, but the real living a life of integrity is keeping it constant throughout any circumstances in your life. That the you that goes to work and the you that goes hang out with your friends match together, because you're not creating this like different personality to hang out with your friends and a different personality to hang out with your coworkers. Like you want to keep yourself consistent throughout your life or throughout your different aspects of life. I'm gonna talk specifically to the connection between our thoughts, emotions, and actions, because there is a link in all of them. Each element, whether it's action, emotions, and thoughts, influence each other. So, thoughts can inspire certain emotions and actions, but most importantly, actions can inspire new thoughts and emotions. So, if you act a certain way, your emotions will be affected and your thoughts will be affected. If you're thinking a certain way, then your actions will be affected, your emotions will be affected, and if you're feeling a certain way, actions and thoughts will be affected. And I mean, this is one of the parts where I was like mind blown and a hack. Like everything makes sense because I wouldn't have thought about it, by myself. But the moment I read this, I am like, yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. That really, summarize my life in a nutshell. But so it really does make sense that all our actions, emotions, and thoughts influence each other. Let's put some examples. So, a good day. And both of these examples are going to be based on our emotions. So, a good day, I wake up in a good mood, and then it leads to a good thought. Oh, this is gonna be the best day ever. I'm gonna have a great time at work. And then I'm gonna be able to get out of work and play with Princess. It's gonna be so good. Because I feel in a good mood, then my thoughts are in a good mood. I'm grateful for my day. My grateful list is packed. And then because I'm in a good mood to do a good action, then I see someone waiting to cross the street and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna stop and let them cross. And then I get to work and I say, good morning, everyone. How are you guys? Like, everything is perfect that day. Now let's go to a bad day. I think we all know about those. I wake up with a bad mood. I wake up feeling bloated. I wake up and the first thing that I feel is that I'm tired. Therefore, I start thinking I don't want to go to work. I just want to stay in bed. I don't want to stand up. I just want to keep closing my eyes and keep sleeping. That's my first thought. Therefore, I start thinking I hate work, which is not true. I love what I do, but those moments do come. And we cannot just ignore that or pretend that they don't exist. They do. We just gotta be honest with ourselves. And that's part of being living in integrity is being honest. It's part of it. It's not it, but it's part of living in integrity is being honest. And I'm being honest to myself right now. And there has been days that I think that not necessarily because I hate my job, but because I feel tired and I wish to sleep more, but I can't because I gotta go to work. So I feel tired. I think I hate work. I don't want to go to work. I want to keep sleeping. But you know what? I cannot do that. So then I have to stand up anyways and get ready. And I'm already in a mood. I feel tired still. And I don't want to be at work because I want to be in my bed sleeping. And therefore, I might be more caught edge. I might not be as talkative. I might not even say good morning. Maybe that day, someone brings something up to me, like a mistake that I have made. And just because I'm already not feeling well, and someone brings up an issue to me, and then I become more reactive. And I become more defensive, and I become not the best of co-workers, and just because I woke up with a bad mood, it happens. And in that way, our emotions affect our thoughts and actions, and it's very real. And it happens I think almost every day, where like depending on how I feel whenever I wake up, it really dictates how my day goes. So letting your feelings drive the boss is a bad idea. I know it's how, at least sometimes, I think that I let my feelings drive the bus most of the week. But I guess it's not a good idea. You know why? Because we cannot control how we feel. Even though if I'm crying, I'm sad, and I tell myself, don't be sad, there's no way I'm gonna stop crying and have a smile in my face. So we cannot control how we feel. It's not being completely present or aware if we're just given full control to our emotions to run our life. Yes, you're feeling a certain way, but if you're thinking and acting upon those emotions because they're being influenced by how you feel, then they're running your life. And I know that's hard to hear, at least it was for me, but we still have our actions and thoughts that, guess what, influence our emotions and how we feel. So we should focus on thoughts and actions, since emotions has been eliminated of the list of tools that we can use. It's still a very crucial part of this whole triangle, but it's one that we cannot control. So therefore, we're gonna pass to our with our thoughts. We can change them, but it is difficult. Keeping automatic negative thoughts at a healthy distance requires devotion to brain health and deliberate life design. which is patterns in brain that can be changed, right? So to put it into simple words, our thoughts can be changed. Yes, we can do something about them. The key with helping changing our thoughts is that it takes a while. It's not a quick fix. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of devotion and awareness, and that is not something easy. Practicing mindfulness and meditation, what really does to your brain, therefore your thoughts, is that it trains your brain to think in a certain way. An easy way to explain it to is that you have a garden. Your brain is a garden, and your flowers or whatever that grows in your garden are thoughts. But you have flowers and you have ugly plants that you don't want because they will consume your pretty flowers, right? And you are in charge of watering them so they can grow. So then your beautiful flowers are thoughts that are welcome to you, that are good for you, that make you feel good. And then the ugly plants that consume the pretty flowers are intrusive thoughts that are not good for you, that lower your self-esteem, that make you feel not good. So then you are in charge of watering them. So by practicing mindfulness and meditation and journaling and all of this stuff, it gets to a point where you're able to take control of that water and say, I'm not gonna water the ugly plants, and eventually they will die off. But I am gonna water the plants, the pretty plants that make me feel good. That is basically what meditation and mindfulness does. So with our thoughts, like I said, it is doable to rewire our brain, to train our brain to push away those negative thoughts, right? Or non-realistic thoughts, or thoughts that are not doing you good. It doesn't have to be negative or positive. I really want to avoid saying negative and positive in this podcast. So sorry if I have said it already, but it's a ways that you can control what thoughts are valuable for you or not. How do you change the way that you think? You have to focus a lot on mental health. And there is multiple things you can do to work on your mental health, whether it's meditating, whether it's practicing yoga, whether it's working out, whether it's journaling, whether it's a gratefulness, going through to therapy, which I highly recommend. I think it's just, to me it seems easy because if I am struggling through something in life, I am not a very patient person. So, and also because I don't know what to do, it also causes me stress and then everything goes downhill. So I prefer always going to a therapist and just be like, hey, this is how I'm feeling. I don't want to feel this anymore. What can I do? And then they literally give you assignments every month, or at least you can ask for that. My therapist does. I bring up an issue that I want to change and we talk about it, and then I am left with explanation on why I'm acting the way that I am, and then things that I can do to improve the behavior. There's a lot of things you can do to work on your mental health. And if you don't know, you can go to my Instagram. I share a lot of it as well. But if not, I'm sure that because of the pandemic, we have a lot of people sharing about mental health too. So you just Google how to practice mental health. And I'm sure you will have a list of things that you can do. And then you could also deliberate life design. And this is something I don't know much about, but I have heard a lot in the past months. Yeah, past months is this so-called life design, and it's kind of like coaching. There's a lot of life coaches out there that will help you along your journey. I necessarily don't know much about it. So the goal of changing our thoughts is to see reality for what it is, Thoughts are complicated. Let's put it that way. It's a difficult and slow process, but it's 100% worth it. It takes a minute, but it's so worth it. You're going to learn so much about yourself through the process, too. So, actions is the last the last element that we're going to talk about. And it is for a reason because guess what? Instincts can be tempered and habits can be changed. So when actions are changed, our thoughts and emotions are to align with our actions. We hit the jackpot. So out of the three elements, emotions, thoughts, and actions, actions is what it's one of the things that we can immediate or change immediately. Yeah, there you go. That we can change immediately at the moment. I feel tired. Therefore, in my head, I'm like, I don't want to work out. I don't really want to work out. But I know that I will feel better. Like in my head, I know that working out will make me feel better. But because in the moment I feel tired and I don't want to work out, then I don't. But guess what? I have control over my actions. So therefore, I still change. I still stand up and I start working out. By mid workout, I already feeling it way better. And then by the end of the workout, I am so proud that I worked out. And I cannot be the only one that feels that way. Like working out sucks. It does sucks. But once you're done working out and you are so proud of yourself because even though you were tired and that you worked 8 hours, you still managed to put yourself up there and work out for yourself, for your health, for you, right? And you're so proud of yourself and therefore your thought changes because your action changed. Your thought changes and your emotion changes. All the time that happens to me, like last night, I worked out at 10:30 p.m. And even though it was a 30-minute workout and I was struggling, and maybe I didn't do it on my 100%, I still did it. And I still sweat and I still got tired. And at the end, my mood was a huge change. I was happy. I was not tired anymore. I was so proud of myself and it was great. So, just like that, you can control your actions, and because your actions have changed, your thoughts and emotions will align with your actions. Recently, actually, because I'm trying to get into working out again because I gained it was, you gain weight, but this amount of weight was like kind of like, okay, it can get out of control. So I'm trying to work out, but it's hard, it's hard to get used to it, especially because I travel a lot. So it's hard to keep myself consistent if I'm not in the same place and I'm not doing the same things. It was hard to come back and having to adapt to my routine again. And my best friend, Anna, the one studying for being a doctor, she told me one day, she said, what helps me a lot is to wake up and tell myself to not negotiate with my brain. Whatever I'm thinking, I'm not negotiating with that. I'm still gonna stand up, get ready, and work out. No negotiation. And I love that because it's so true. I wake up and I feel tired, therefore, I'm not gonna work out. I think my sleep is more important. And it's so smart to just say, I'm not negotiating with you right now. Nope, let's work out. And then I work out and I feel great afterwards. So I think that's good to share, and I completely give credit to my friend Anna. By doing this, it's also the key of procrastination because a lot of the time, well, most of the time, procrastination is just postponing something that you gotta do just because you don't want to do it, then you procrastinate. Where like if you just do it, you overcome procrastination. Taking action is the key to becoming better and closer to who you want to be. Well, everyone, that was all for the first episode of Let's Begin Again podcast. I am so happy that this happened. And I just want to say that I really, really hold this integrity near my heart. Just because if you align your actions, emotions, and thoughts in your life, you like I already have seen so much grow since I started thinking this way and being more aware. And I'm not saying that I live a life of integrity, because I have flaws too, like maybe one day I woke up and like something bad happened, and I might just not be like, oh, peace and love everyone, like there is times where I don't live based on my integrity, but I try, right? And I give the best that I can out there every day. I try my best, and that's all that matters. And I want you to take that with you today, is that this is a tool that you can use to grow and learn more about yourself and be there for others, your genuine self. Because if you live a life of integrity, you're gonna be proud of every action, every thought, every emotion that you put out there. You're gonna be proud of who you are. This is something you can use on your daily life, and I want you to take it with you today and apply that knowledge that you have now and see how your life changes, your point of view changes, and how you start glowing not only for you but for others around you. Thank you so much for staying all the way till the end, and I hope you guys really enjoyed this, and I hope to see you next week. Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining this week's on Let's Begin Again podcast. I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode on integrity, and I am excited to have you next week back on our second episode. I really appreciate it if you guys review this episode and review this podcast and share it with friends and loved ones that are going through their personal growth and honestly everything, because just remember that I am gonna be talking about anything and everything you guys bring into the table. So don't forget to go to Instagram and follow me at patriciapilar.pina, and that would be at PATRICIAPILAR .PENA. Go follow me and be waiting for that QA box where you can just add our weekly topic, and I will be picking one every week from that. Have an awesome week, and I'll see you next time. And like I will say, let's begin again.